Okay, my little loves. Come sit down with me, get comfy. And I'll just fill you in on everything that happened since the last video. So the first thing I want to say is that sadly we lost Mum on the 16th of May 2024, about 20 past 8 in the evening. And then at 10 past 5 on the 17th of May, Sooz went to be with her. So as you can imagine, we're still trying to process things and sort everything out. But the last time you saw me was in the hospice garden, when I just had a call from Terry to say that Mum was really going downhill. And I honestly thought when we got Sooz out of the hospital to go back to the hospice that Mum would just be going into a rehab centre and then coming home. I didn't realise that those two saying goodbye would be the last time I would say goodbye to my mum. I honestly didn't think, but you know, as a lot of you have said, I think Mum completely chose when she wanted to go, because she knew she wasn't going to allow Susie to go before her, and she wanted to wait for her. So what happened after I was sat in the garden talking to you is I went back in and sat with Sooz. Joe was either racing or at this point on her way back to Terry, and Mum in York Hospital. And I just sat with Sooz and talked to her as I always did. I could notice, you know, changes and things. I just kept talking to her. We had some visitors coming in, friends and things. And then one of the nurses in the hospice said, "Do you want me to ring the hospital and just double check what's going on?" Because it was soul destroying that I couldn't be in two places at once. And I said, "Yes, please, can you just ring them and just check?" And what we'd actually found out is that there were no private rooms available in the hospital, so they cleaned out a cupboard, like a storeroom cupboard, and put Mum in there, which was too small for even Joe to get a wheelchair close enough to Mum to hold her hand. But Terry could get close enough to hold her hand. And then she came out 10 minutes later and she said, "Oh, she's not on ward 34. I said, "She is." I couldn't believe that York Hospital was still getting things wrong. You know, and at this point, nothing had happened, and I was just like, if you ring them back, she's definitely on ward 34, so, you know, they can just check what's going on. And this was about 45 minutes, an hour after Terry had rung me. And then she came back in and she said, and I was obviously with Susie, and she said, if you'd just like to pop out for a minute and I'll, just update you on what's going on. I said, yeah, no problem. And she took me into a room and she said, I rung them back. And they said, oh yeah, sorry, she is on ward 34, but she passed away about an hour ago. And I was like, oh my God. Terry was too in shock and just sat with Mum to ring me. And the hospital didn't think about ringing me as next of kin. And apparently Terry was just left with her in a room. He did mention to them that she'd passed away and they were supposed to get some help, but still 45 minutes later nobody had turned up. So he just sat with her. And he said she was struggling a bit. So they'd laid her down and she can't breathe when she's laid down. So he said, please, can you just lift her up a bit so that she's a bit more comfortable? She's dying, but she still needs to be comfortable. So he lifted her up a bit and she was gasping a little bit. And then apparently he said, oh, Mum, he said, why don't you just go? You're so tired. And she did. So it was all so quick and too much for anyone to process. So I just in shock and numb, I went back into Sooz. Joe had got to Terry by this point and was comforting him. And I said to Terry, when you're ready, just race back over here, because they were trying to get Mum, the palliative care team at York Hospital are really great, and they tried so hard to get Mum to the hospice, but they couldn't in time. So at least I could have been together with them both, and they could have been together, but it just wasn't possible. So yeah, Terry raced back, and by this point, it was getting a bit late, and with his PTSD and everything, he said that he would just bunk up in his car in the car park and get some kip and just try and deal with what he'd just dealt with. So that's what he did, and Joe stayed with me and we talked to Sooz. And then it got to the early hours and or midnight, or I can't remember, and I started playing music to her, all different types of songs that I knew she loved, or that we loved, or that were nostalgic. And then it got to the early hours and I noticed a few more changes. And also a really weird thing is that obviously Susie's NG tube that was draining her stomach off because of the bowel blockage, it hadn't moved or done anything for a long time. It was just all blocked up. And my stomach turned to absolute jelly. And as my stomach turned to jelly, I saw her NG tube flowing again, like her stomach had turned to jelly at exactly the same time. And I looked at Joe and I was like, oh my God. I said, why is that happening? Well, I felt the same. And we did have a little giggle because I said to Sooz, just wait there, please, while I run to the loo. And I said, don't go while the whole world's falling out of my asshole. I just came out and I just said it, and we had a little laugh. And anyway, she waited for me to get out of the toilet. And I played Justin Lee, Come Away With Me, and Stuart We're in Time Don't Stop, which is her and Liberty's song that we played on YouTube when Liberty came up from the other side of the world. And then Terry came back in, and I said, oh, I've not heard Baz Luhrmann Sunscreen for so long. I'll play that for her. And me and Joe we'd been dancing and singing to her the whole night. And the nurses, nobody cared. You know, the door was open and the songs were playing. And I played this song, and I couldn't believe the timing of it. It's quite a long song, and it just got to the bit where I was on this side, Susie was there, Terry was on that side of her holding her, and it said, brother and sister together we'll make it through. And she went, and I said, oh no. I said, no crying. And then it said, someday your spirit will take you and guide you there. And she went, And I said, oh no, Susie, no crying. And then it says, I know you've been hurting, but I'll be there waiting to be there for you. And Terry, I said, I'll be right behind you. I'll be right behind you. And Terry said, oh, Sooz, he said, just jump. Jump, Sooz. It's not scary, just jump. And I'll be there just helping you out wherever I can. And then she just went. And then she went. And I was like, oh gosh, I couldn't believe it. And she looked so pretty. And I found an old passport of Mum's yesterday when I went to check on Kev and Jason and went to the funeral directors and all the other stuff you've got to sort out when this happens. And I found an old picture of Mum, and Susie looked just like her when she'd passed away. And I showed Jason yesterday, and he took a double take, and he was like, oh my gosh, you look so much like her. And bless him, Jason, he there was no way that he could have been there when she passed away, and he never would have got over it. So he told me to stay with her, and that he was so grateful and thankful for me. And then I rang him after, and he was just devastated. And he said, oh, I can't see her like that. And I said, you can, because I think you'll regret it if you don't. And anyway, he did come in, and he just said, oh my princess, I've never seen anybody so sad. But he did it, and I just kept saying, oh, Sooz, thank you so much for everything that she's done to save lives, and all the resilience and strength that she's taught me. I'll never be able to repay her for what she's taught me, and I'll never be able to repay or thank you all enough for allowing me to stay with her for all this time, and not, just have so much uninterrupted time with her and not have to leave and not have to come home and work and not be with her. You did that. You allowed me to stay with her. That was you. And I couldn't have had it any other way, and I'm so grateful. So, yeah, they're both together, and Dad's up there as well. And now, I'm pretty much invincible. Nobody can ever hurt me. Because to lose half of your family in the space of that, nothing beats that pain. So I'm empowered. I'm invincible. And I forever will spread Sooz's story. And she will forever continue to save lives. With her legacy being told.
Heading up the west coast in the morning to find a place where no one knows our faces or our names. If we don't leave now, we might never make it out alive. Plans are changing, rearranging all the time. So come away with me, let's break free. We could fall asleep where the land and ocean meet. Wake up to the sounds of no one around. And as the sun comes up, the glow will show us where we need to go. All this waiting, so frustrating, let's just drive. So come away with me, let's break free. Just you and me. Oh, it feels a million miles away, but when I'm close to you, I pray that I'll never have to leave. There's nothing more in life I want than just to feel your beating heart and let you know that I am near. This sun is setting fast, I know, and I can feel you bid me go, but I don't wanna leave just yet. 'Cause I've got so much left to see, but I know freedom ain't that free if I ain't got you by my side. Oh, my love, won't you come and walk with me a while? Time don't stop, even in the middle of a dream. So turn the car around and leave. Meet me underneath the tree inside the valley that we made. And with our hands we'll make the best of the life that we have left, and we will never say goodbye. Oh, my love, won't you come and walk with me a while? Time don't stop, even in the middle of a dream. Turn the car around and leave. Meet me underneath the tree inside the valley that we made. And with our hands we'll make the best of the life that we have left, and we will never say goodbye. And if we do, we'll meet again, knowing love was heaven sent, and I've never felt this way.